Hey there, Wargamers. Justin Arpeggio here, and we are back for another episode of the TNT Two Nerds Talking podcast. And I've got John with me today, and we are freshly back from Southern Assault 2024. And I figured it might be a good time to have a chat about our experience at Southern Assault. So, John. John, what were your thoughts right out the gate?
So I attended Southern Assault 1 and 2. I was not able to make it last year to 3, and 4 was my big return to the event. A lot more people.
Yep.
It was well organized. It didn't feel too cluttered. A lot of people, but everybody was in a good mood for the most part.
Yep.
I was happy to see that most of the scenarios have changed.
Yep.
To a positive format. A lot of people enjoyed it. Maybe Game 4 wasn't the biggest hit with the whole gridiron.
Yeah, I would agree.
Game.
That was also if I was having to rank all the scenarios I played, gridiron would probably be at the bottom. It'd be the number 6 on the list at the very bottom. I did not enjoy that one.
I would say number 7,
Yeah.
really. And it's no slight towards Bobby or anybody that had a say in the function or the event. The thing is, I think it was really well done. They had the catering down the lunchroom. There was a whole DRD like shop set up in the hallway.
Yep.
Everything was really good. There was drinks available for people. It wasn't like selective. It was very like inviting. Someone even had a pickup truck by the entrance
that's
with
Todd.
coolers.
Yep. Todd.
Great move. So it was a very comfortable environment.
Yep.
The only thing is, I feel that Game 1 went well, Game 2 went well, Game 3, everybody's kind of getting in the groove of it, and then Game 4 hit, and it was like hitting a brick wall on just the cohesion and somewhat the fun, because there was like a whole 30-minute break of like, okay, read this whole like page of rules, and it was like small print rules. If you attended, you know what I'm saying. So it's not exaggeration. It was
literally not even double space. It was a full, 8.5 by 11.
It was
like,
sheet. Size 8 prompt, no double space. It was a full page.
Yeah.
So it's a cool idea, but it was forced, and a lot of people just didn't want to do it.
Yep. And it was Game 4 on day 1. So we do instead of doing 3 and 3, do 4 and 2. So we had already been in there for about 2.5 hours per round. And this is going into Game 4, and we've been in there for 7.5 hours plus lunch break. We were all tired.
People were mentally exhausted because an event like that, with the exception of like your lower back and the back of your legs just leaning and standing the whole time, it's mentally exhausting. It is. And you have to approach Game 4 to learn a whole new rule set and get over the frustration. Let's say you had a bad couple first round games. This is going to accentuate the fact that you probably don't want to play this. And there's a lot of people, and I'll be honest, including myself, I'm like, I'd rather just go home and just skip this whole round and just take the L, because this is not fun.
Yep.
I try to be positive, as same as my opponent across the table. The guys next to us were the same way, other side same way. We're like, you know what, let's just try to make fun of it or make the most of it. And we're going through 20, 30 minutes, and everybody's just saying, man, this is kind of a drag. No one's having fun.
Yeah.
We finished it, and we're like, that still wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And everybody went home after day 1 in more of a sour mood.
A little bit of a low point,
I think a lot of people were like, I might not come back tomorrow based on how I just go to sleep and wake up.
Yeah.
I felt the same way, but I paid for the event. It was a fun event. I wanted to make sure I supported Bobby and just kind of showed face and went through all the way, because I knew day 2 would be better. But day 1, it went from a very extreme high of fun, slowly ramping down to like, why did I even come?
Yeah,
so it was unfortunate, I feel.
Yeah. So to piggyback on some of what John's saying here, so I'm the moron who dressed up as the Jade Falcon idiot. This year, instead of the jeans and the cutoff jean jacket or jean shirt, I'm wearing a flight suit, and I've still got the plate carrier on, all the patches, the crazy hair. So not only was I standing around all day and leaning over, wearing this thing, sweating my butt off, it's actually real. So like I had 20 pounds of metal plates in this thing, which seems like a really fun idea until you do it. So it's kind of dumb. So not only was I doing that to be cool and look funny, because if you don't put the plates in there, it drags and it doesn't look real, right? So you got the realism to it. But going into Game 4, I had that on. I'm sweating, I'm tired, and I can read. Some people find this funny. I can read. When I say I can't read good, I can read. My reading comprehension is there, but I learn better. I'm a tactile learner. So when I learned Alpha Strike, let's go back. When I learned Warhammer or any other war game, I have someone who walks me through, teaches me, and I'm learning as I go, right? And then as new rules are introduced, I can reference like, oh, what is in Battletech terms, what does LRMs mean for Alpha Strike? I'll go look that up. What does IF mean? Go look that up. But I already have the core. If you hand me a new rule set for a game and I have to learn it all, start to finish, and read it, I don't do so well. The processing takes a while. And for me, when I went into game 4, and I got handed this page, so I'm there as like a personality running the YouTube, trying to have a good time. So I'm constantly talking to people. People are coming over and asking me questions. We also just came off the CSO snafu, so I had a lot of people, like probably half those people came and talked to me at least. So I didn't have a lot of time to read it. So I had like 10 minutes when I finally got this thing after we went and found it, because I didn't have a sheet, so I didn't know where it was at. And then I looked at it and I was immediately daunted, because I understand how I learn, and to process this full sheet was a lot for me. And then I got to the end of it and I looked at my opponent and I was like, hey, do you just want to agree to shoot each other with respawns? Like, that's how I felt, like, which is rough. He didn't want to, so we tried to make it work, but like, I wasn't sure if I was getting rules right, because like I wasn't confident in it. I didn't know what I was doing. And so that it's not completely just like negative feedback for this event, or this scenario at the event. I think this would do well as a side event. So like if you come to Nova, for example, Nova Open, and I run the Northern Assault, a tournament, we have side events for the Alpha Strike grinders that I run. So if you want to play that, you sign up for that. I think Gridiron, which was game 4 for Bobby, would be really good as a side event you sign up for. I also think that one of two things should happen with that. You have a very specific list building requirements that you know going in. This is the types of things you can bring and not bring, because you're making your team almost like you're making a Blood Bowl football team. Or maybe Bobby's has the community come together and they paint a bunch of real quick color stuff, like this is the blue team, the red team, the green team, whatever, and they're pre-built, and you just get handed a force to play this sports met game with. And I think that would create balance and then let you learn something in that environment. But throwing it into a tournament when people they brought a list that's specifically designed to play one way. So like if you brought a very heavy tank list with C3 and blah, 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 and all of a sudden you're like, well, now I have to designate dudes to go grab the ball and move stuff, but half my list is vehicles. Like, that's a struggle, and I think that combined arms and Alpha Strike is good. But if you brought 4 mechs, 4 tanks, and like 2 VTOLs and some infantry or something, you have a very balanced list that's probably very good, probably not so good in Gridiron. So then you come in and you feel like your balanced list can't really play that scenario. Whereas everything else Bobby threw at us, the other 5, even if you weren't strong in it, you could still play it. But Gridiron, if you didn't bring a good list, it was tough.
And something else. So if the person in charge of running the event is adamant about having this type of game match in the tournament, like, these things are set ahead of time. Maybe release this rule set at, ahead of the tournament, not the day, or not 30 minutes before you're supposed to play the game.
Yeah.
So people can actually go over it, because once you submit lists, you can't change your army list, so therefore there's no damage going to be done. Let people see this ahead of time, because like I walked in day 1 and I didn't know that was going to be game 4. I remember seeing the banners and stuff for Gridiron. I'm like, oh, that's neat, but I never had any interest in playing it. I saw the pamphlet and handout for the player package. I'm like, oh, that's cool. To me, like, oh, that's trash. And like, I just tossed it in the back of my car, like, junk. Because I like playing Alpha Strike. I don't have that much time to play tabletop games, so I don't want to skew or stray off to an off-tangent game that doesn't really matter in the scope of Battletech. Yeah. So in my mind, that's just, that's a cool idea, good for people that like it, but I'm not going to play that. And then at the end of game 3, they're like, oh yeah, game 4 is Gridiron. I'm like, I don't want to play that. They're like, no, that's the game type. Yeah. I'm like, cool, let me go to my car and dig that piece of paper out of the back seat and learn this new rule set for a game I have never had any interest in playing whatsoever for the rest of my life, to be honest.
Yeah,
it just felt like it's a waste of time. And one thing about me is a pet peeve of mine is I don't like to waste my time, because I feel like I'll never get that time back. Yeah. That's something that kind of instilled me since I was in the military and deployed overseas. I lost a whole year of my life that I'll never get that time back. So since then, wasting my time is a really big pet peeve, and to me, that was just a waste of complete time that I'll never get back. Yeah. So it put me in a sour mood that, like, well, I got to be a good sport and just kind of suffer through it. But like, no one was happy, no one was smiling. Only people that had smiles on their faces had teams that happened to work really well in this scenario. Most people were just waiting for the game to end. Yep. That's it. They just wanted to wait for the game to end. The game ended, and people could not have left faster. Yeah. So I just think it put a real sour mood on the end of the day. It might have just been me. I know a lot of people shared that same sentiment, but it made a lot of people question coming back, not only the next day, but possibly even next year, with how some things were kind of forced, because it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, and again, we're not trying to be super overly negative because Bobby puts on a great event.
It was fantastic. I'll come every year, but that game scenario, it broke a lot of people's mood, and it didn't help.
Yep. And if you're listening to this, if you follow the channel and you go to Southern Assault, the one thing I will always tell people, and I do this at Nova as well, I always tell people if you have issues, if there's things I could do better, things you like as well, tell me, because if overwhelmingly I've got a few scenarios people always tell me they like. So we keep trying to bring it back, or if I adjust it, it's just to tweak it to try and keep making it better. But when I've had people say, when unanimously most players just don't like a thing, well, maybe it's time to overhaul it or cut it. So I've been talking with a couple other guys that were at the event, and they've been every year, and they're talking about not coming next year. And I was like, yo, your group represents an appreciable number of people that come from out of town. If there's a reason you're not coming, you should talk to Bobby. And I was like, he may not make changes, but people should tell the TO what they liked or didn't like, because if we don't know that, we don't know what to do to improve. So if you are one of those people who has complaints about the event, please tell Bobby constructively. Don't just be an ass or anything. But also if there's things that you like, to tell him too, because he'll know, like, okay, these are the things that overwhelmingly people enjoy. These are things they don't. What can I do to enhance this? What can I do to fix that or remove it? And again, it's the same thing I do at Nova as well. I know one of the issues that was brought up to me, I didn't actually look at the Excel spreadsheet Bobby put out, but he made public all of the ratings and rankings and everything, so you can go see, like, what was my sportsmanship score, what was this, what was that. And one of the guys told me that he was like 4-1-1, and he was like bottom half, like he was like 70 something or something like that out of 120. Technically my list was illegal, so every game I played was meant to be a buy round. So I ended up being 1-5 because one of my opponents was adamant that I take the win, and I was like, okay, but I tried. I was like, well, I was like, hey, we can call it a draw. He didn't want it. He's like, you won, you get it. I was like, all right. So didn't want to argue with him, but technically I went 1-5. And because of the way soft score works, dude was telling me I was in almost top 10 for overall players, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Painting and stuff like that, soft scores make a difference for tiebreakers in my opinion, but like if he was 4-1-1 and he was in bottom half and I was 1-5 and I was in the top 15 or something, I think he said I was number 11 overall, which I did not verify, but that's what I was told. That doesn't make any sense. So that's one of the things I told this guy. I was like, hey, if your group has issues with that, you should talk to Bobby, because like if you legitimately came and you were more interested in competing, which he doesn't bring super cheesy lists, but he is a very tactical player. That if you come and you're like, I want to see like where I should be based on the gameplay results, and that's an issue for you, and you might not want to come back, you should tell Bobby. And I got that same type of feedback for different things at Nova. The way scoring happened in my games. You could get really, really far ahead, and based on the win-loss ratio, it might be hard for somebody to edge you out of first place based on how much you ran up the score in one game. So I got a lot of feedback about that, and then this year I made changes to make sure that every game's weight relative to the previous game or the upcoming game was all very similar. That way you didn't have one game where you just ran the score up. It'd be like winning you winning a football game 100-0, and then that 100 points carrying over to the next game. It shouldn't feel that way. So again, in this example, give feedback, TOs will make adjustments. So if there's things you liked or didn't like about Southern Assault, you make sure you tell people.
And piggybacking off that, and I know it's kind of opened up as like a negative kind of a thought process, but again, I've been to 3 of the 4 last Southern Assaults. Every year I've attended, it's gotten better and better. Mm-hmm. So, and Bobby has taken feedback, because year 1 there was a scenario that no one liked, and it didn't make it to year 2.
Yep.
Year 2, there was something people didn't like, and I heard it didn't make it to year 3. So if the only negative from this year's event was game 4, besides that, everything else went fantastically. Like it was a great event. I will go again every year. Yep. If I have the free time to do it, I will go every single year, because it's gotten better and better. But if I had to pick one negative point, it was that, although it was quite a glaring negative point. It doesn't take away the fun that I had. It did impact it, but overall I still had a good time. So I would definitely come again. I would urge you guys, if you're in the area, even within reasonable travel distance, if you can manage it, come out. If you've never been to an event and you're kind of intimidated by the size of the event, to me that just leaves opportunity for more fun, because the first 2 years it was roughly about the same amount of people. It grew a little bit, but you expect to play the same people every time. Now, year 4, I saw all the people mostly I saw in year 1 and 2, but I didn't play any one of them. So I got to meet new players, new interactions. Some people were playing for the first time in an event in, forever. And then some people have been playing for a couple weeks versus, a few years. So there's a big mix, and everybody was legitimately having fun. Having played other tabletop games like Star Wars Minis and Warhammer 40K, everybody here was really there to have fun. So that was the most important thing, although Game 4 might have not followed that same directive to where it was just a curveball. That's all it was. Everybody, for the most part, did have fun. So I think it's still a positive experience, so don't take what we're saying as negative. It's just critiques, because if you don't get feedback, you don't get critiques, you can't make things better.
Yeah, so in terms of the players there, because I get these comments a lot on social media or YouTube where people are worried about the tournament type of player. The tournament grogs, it's not as bad as you would think. I played Warhammer 40K for like almost a decade or something, and would not dart the doors of a tournament. I couldn't do it. The player base and the rule set was not good for it. Is the rule set for Alpha Strike great for tournaments? Probably not super great, mostly because there's list building stuff and restrictions the TOs have to do to make it balanced. But overall, is it better than 40K? Yes. And in my opinion, is the community better? Yes. The thing that I overwhelmingly see at Nova is when we see growth, it's always new players that have played less than 5 games, and then they have a good time. Same thing at Southern Assault. It's lots of new players. They're having a good time. If these events that or the event I run, the one Bobby runs, were not doing well and weren't growing from the community, we would know. And I think that when you start to look at hyper cutthroat tournaments, especially some of the other Alpha Strike and Battletech ones out there, and start looking at the rate at which Northern Assault and Southern Assault are growing, I think that is the constant, because my rules packet and list building restrictions are a little different than Bobby's. His are different from mine, but that remains a constant where our event is growing year over year, and it's mostly new people, and they keep coming back. So if you're on the fence, come out, try it, and see if you like it before you judge us, because it's not the same as a Magic community. It's not the same as 40K. And in regards to Game 4 Gridiron, I think if people give Bobby the feedback that I suspect they will, I think that event will be moved from a core mission of the 6, and I bet that'll get moved to Friday night. This past Southern Assault, they had, I forget what it's called, the Crab something or other, I think. They have a charity event where they raise money and you do some kind of gameplay thing. I bet Gridiron gets moved to Friday night as a side event and probably has some kind of charity element. I can't say for sure that's what Bobby will do, but or at least from the charity side, but I suspect he'll move it to Friday and have it as a side event for people to play while everyone sets up and have a good time. And then he still gets to have all his branding and his merch and stuff that he has up. So that would be my guess.
And fun fact, as a veteran, well, compared to some, I might be a veteran player. At least for tabletop gaming, I'm a veteran player, so I think it applies here, and Justin is as well.
Oh yeah, I've been playing for a long time.
Anytime there's a new player, hey, I'm new to this, that's exciting for us.
Yes.
Because one, that means it's not like a rule Gestapo rule Nazi situation to where it's not like, okay, I have to be on my toes and watch this and that. It can make the game a lot more casual, so we can make sure it's more fun for them, and in turn it's more fun for us. Yeah. Let's say if a veteran of 5-10 years is playing another veteran of 5-10 years, there's a natural like friendly competitiveness to it to where, okay, we're a little more dialed in.
You guys have seen it when we play, because we both have a pretty good idea what we're going to do. We understand the tactics and the strategies, and John's probably got a 90% accuracy rate in determine what I'm doing, and probably vice versa. But if I go to an event and I play against someone who's new, I would much rather get less turns in and spend more time teaching and coaching than to go to max turn and run up the score. I've literally hurt myself for the overall standings, but helped the community, and I urge that at Northern Assault too. Bobby even kind of took a page out of my book this year with what he said at the beginning of the event to promote people being like not being that guy and to be a positive part of the community. I tell people at Nova the same thing. Like when you're here, remember that for you to roll dice, that other guy has to agree to roll dice against you. Don't be that guy, and if they're new, be a part of. Give them an experience that's going to encourage them to come back. Even if they lose, let them know they won something in the form of like I've learned how to play better, I've got a better grasp of the rules, or that guy is not what I expected from a tournament. He beat me, but he wasn't a douchebag, right? And that's important. It'd be like if you're an NFL team and you go play against the little leaguers, of course you're going to win. And I'm not saying that a new player is going to get absolutely dumpster dunked by a vet, but the odds are heavily in the veterans player if they know what they're doing. So make sure that other person's getting something out of it. So if this is the case and you're the equivalent of an NFL or pro player versus the little leaguer who's new to the game, maybe you don't dunk on them. Maybe you're teaching them stuff because you already kind of have a pretty good idea. And like that when you tell people that can kind of sound a little condescending. That's not the intent. It's more like let me share knowledge with you because I want to see you come back. And if you're going to potentially risk losing because I have all this experience and the odds are in my favor, let's make sure you're learning something from it. Because let's be honest, if you're a competitive player, if you're hyper competitive, for you to get that dopamine dump, which I hate this, I can't stand hyper competitive dudes. But if your dopamine dump is predicated on beating someone, I can't imagine that it's going to be fun for you to beat someone that wasn't a challenge, right? Which again, that sounds a little condescending too. But like, if you are being part of a community where you're helping grow it and teach people, they become a better player, which in turn makes the meta more competitive.
Yep.
And you don't have to be like, again, a douchebag in the competitive meta, but like, it's important for people to know how to play the game for the health of the game. So I like teaching new people and bringing them in. So yeah, I mean, somebody I guess could clip that and I'll sound like an idiot, but like I think the point gets across.
I mean, if you're a veteran player, just keep in mind, if you're playing someone new, you are directly in control of either impacting the community in a positive or negative way. One, if you dumpster dunk on them and you make them not have fun just because you got that little rush, congratulations, you hurt the community.
Yeah, if they don't come back, yep.
So also, like, just take the high road. If you're playing a game and you know you tactically have every advantage, you know how it's going to go, throw the game a little bit. Do something a little dumb. Get them back into it. Have some fun with them, because if they don't have fun, I promise you they will not come back, and you will have less people to play with down the road, unless you're just a basement troll and you just want to ruin people's days.
Yep.
Then, I mean, I don't know what the point of doing this is. So
Yep.
why even show up if you're not there to have fun?
Yep.
If you're there just, dumpster dunk on people, then, I mean, no one wants to play with you, man. Don't be that person.
So one of the things I'll do when I'm playing with someone new, I like to talk through my turns so they hear what I'm saying, and I'll be like, I'm going here because X, Y, and Z.
Think out loud.
Hey, here's my options. I think this is the play because X, Y, and Z. So they get to hear the process. But one of the scenarios Bobby had, it's trying to get you to get all of your models on their side of the table, and they're trying to get on yours. And last year I did this, and I got all the way on the opponent's side. They got all the way on mine, and I was like, hey, this isn't the best strategy, but like, you want to just turn around and go like fight each other and just like balls the wall, start blapping. The dude was like, let's do it. So like we had identified like where the score was going to go, what was going to happen. Yep. And instead of us hiding, we made a decision to go fight, even though that wasn't the best strategy. So if I'm playing with someone new and I'm going to do that, I will articulate like here's the strategy for what I would do if I was trying to like go for the throat for the win. Here's the thing I think is going to be more fun for both of us. What would you like? And let's find that happy medium. Because I also don't want someone I'm playing with to think I'm pulling a punch and them notice, because then they might think, oh, this guy's giving me the game. I don't want to do that. If like there are some tournament players I have met who are new and they absolutely want the experience of like, nope, no takesy backsies. Play with me like I'm a big boy, and that's what they want. And if that's what you want, I'll do that. But if you're new and you're like, hey, like, you mind coaching me a little bit? Like, was that a good move? And I'm like, well, here's your options. If you want to move it back, this one might be a good one. We'll go through that stuff so they're starting to kind of see how my brain works. And if every player's doing that with you, I may not be the end-all be-all of Alpha Strike strategies, but if you start taking the knowledge from the community as a whole, so let's say you're a new player and you play 6 games, and 6 of those players you're playing with, all 6 of them are like coaching you and giving you some ideas, you're getting knowledge from 6 different people, 6 different perspectives, and you can start to pick and choose what you like from their strategies and their recommendations to craft your own way to play. And that's what's important. But if all you learned from a game was how to lose because you didn't know what's going on, which I've played Magic where this happens. Dudes will be like, here's my hand, I do this, I do that, I cascade this, that, and I win, and I'm like, cool, I have no idea what just happened. That's not what you want to do if you're a competitive player in this scene. Like, make sure if you're beating someone, like, they understand the mechanics. Because, like, if they don't know how to play the game, you're not really winning. Like, because it's like playing chess with someone who doesn't know how to play. Like, and then, like, play checkers then until they're comfortable. And again, all this taken out of context might sound super condescending, but the moral of the story is trying to encourage people and help them grow and get into the game. And from our perspective, we both ran a lot of stuff at our local shop years ago, and like we can't. And this is why I'm very adamant about this particular topic. I've watched every gaming community that I tried to help run locally crash and burn, because I can give these recommendations, but you can't force people to do stuff. So in X-Wing miniatures, for example, we had a really thriving community until a couple of the hyper-competitive guys from 40K came over, and every night on casual game night for X-Wing, they wanted to play tournament lists, and they started dumpster dunking people. And we played X-Wing. John wasn't playing at the time, but I did X-Wing like twice a week. And they were doing this, and every time we came in, less and less people, to the point it got down to like 3 people. And the 2 guys from 40K were talking to me like, well, where's everyone going? And I literally looked at them and went, it's you. It's you. I told you guys not to run these tournament lists all the time. These people are new. You're not teaching them. You're just dumpster dunking them, and then they leave. And I can't stop you. I can tell you not to do it, but it's your models, and you do it, and the community's worse off for it. So I've watched multiple communities just crash and burn because of that. I've watched the 40K community in our local meta shrink down to, it is a distilled version of, or a distilled group of players that are all one type, and that's why I stopped going.
It takes 1 or 2 people to ruin an entire community,
Yep.
and it can happen over the course of 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes less.
Yep.
And it's sad because the people doing it can't see past their own nose that they're doing it,
Yep.
and they're the reason why there's no one to play with. It's the reason why they're the only one that shows up, on a Saturday, except for like the one guy that has no other choice but to play because it's all he can afford to play. So he's stuck in that game because he can't afford to play anything else.
Yep.
So he's stuck coming to play a game that he just likes to play against someone he doesn't like to play with.
Yep.
And it's just sad when you see that happen because some people are like, you know what?
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm done.
Yep.
And when people come in and they see like 2 guys playing a game and one guy looks like he hates his life and the other guy's like, ha, I got you again. No one wants to play that.
No.
So, like, if you don't recognize, if you don't see that kind of pattern in your community, then maybe you're the problem.
Yeah.
So, congratulations on having all the cool stuff. Hey, you're a great eBay shopper, but enjoy playing by yourself.
Yep.
I mean, there's a reason why you're sad at night. I don't know.
Yep. And this not trying to be on the high horse with all this. Woo, just banging on that. I've talked about this in our episode that we did for TNT. I forget which one it was, but we talked about the story about me and Jared and the Drool and the playing the Star Wars minis.
1. Yep.
is very, very funny, and you don't want it to be, but it is kind of funny. The story is. But you learn, 21-year-old Justin versus almost 40-year-old Justin, I have a lifetime of experience of running things and learning and trying to figure out what works well and what doesn't and what kind of player I want to be. So when I say these things to people, especially new gamers, it's like, learn from my mistakes, don't do what I did. And I feel like some people fall into that trap, especially if you are new to wargaming and you walk into a local shop and they are hyper competitive, it's hard not to fall in with that. If they're like, you want to play 40K, everyone plays 40K this way. So you start doing it, and then a new player comes in, and you don't realize that you've fallen into this toxic mentality because that's what you were exposed to. So taking a step back to realize or to assess how you actually play and how other people might be affected is important. Because once you're in that community, it's hard. So I had the same issue happen with Magic where I kind of got in and I knew exactly how the local meta played, and I was playing the way they played because that was what was fun for them, and I knew this is what I had to do to be able to make sure I wasn't getting dumpster dunked. Then I exit that venue and I play with some other people and really pissed them off because the stuff that I was using was very, very competitive, but in that microcosm of the local community, that was like my stuff that was competitive was not very competitive against them because my deck was, I don't know, $300-400 versus $3,000, but this is what I had to do to kind of compete. Then I jump in and play with another group who's like got starter decks and they're new or something, and I don't realize that the mentality is different. And that's what happened. So like I had to start to learn what's good and like assess each community, each gaming partner when I play with them, like what's going to be fun. So that's kind of what we're getting at. We've been there. Like everyone's competitive at some point, but learning like when is it worth a win versus when is it worth like growing a community. And generally, if you grow the community, you always have someone to play with. If you sacrifice that for a win, you have no one to play with, and that's where
also
we're at.
Going back on the whole story about Jared. Yeah, it was really funny at the time, but what we didn't mention is also that kid, him and his sister, they came back with their dad every week.
Yeah.
He had fun. Like, it was just a one-off scenario that was really funny. I mean, everybody was laughing about it. Even he was, like, kind of laughing, frustrated, but, like, he still had fun the game before, the game after. So it's okay to have some fun in that regards, but keep in mind the spirit of the game. So everybody still had fun. He still kept coming back. He'd come by. He'd come back for what Halloween was dressed up as Han Solo and stuff. Like, we still had fun as a group. So that was one of my favorite times as a gaming community because we ribbed at each other, but it was still a lot of fun. So you can poke fun, but just keep in mind the spirit of the game. So that's what we did, even though, we were a little younger, a little more immature. Yeah, but everybody still had fun, and we always took input. Okay, what do you guys want to see next week? Here's a theme for next time. So we make sure to involve everybody, and if one person didn't have fun one week, we're like, hey, what would you like to see next time? And we make sure they had like a say in it. So Yeah, and that's there's an ebb and flow to the community, but you got to make sure you keep it alive. You can't just beat it into the dirt because then you got nobody to play with, man, and that's no fun.
I think to John's point there, I think the thing that's important to note, with at least the way that my brain works, is I'm very hard on myself with stuff. So like I talk about the Jared story and how it's funny, but it shouldn't be, and then until John said something about like he's like Jared kept coming back, he was having fun, and then it makes me think like he was having fun. It's important to know that like. One bad experience could have a negative impact on the community, but if you have been that guy before and you didn't realize it and you're trying to do better next time, you don't beat yourself up over it. Just try and do better. So like in this particular case, I had an experience that I regret with Jared, but it's actually probably the only negative experience I can think of with Jared. But I put it up here, and it's the only. It literally like puts a rain cloud on how I feel about the situation. But when John mentions like how everything else went, I'm like, you know what, actually. I had a bad experience there, or I gave someone a bad experience, but I grew and tried to be better. As a whole, I feel like the community was well, and I was learning how to be a better person, a better TO, a better gamer as well. So if you feel like you have perhaps wronged someone before in the community or played in such a way that wasn't fun, you have control over how you continue to carry yourself forward. So like if Jared still played games today, he probably would get an apology from me, and then I would probably try really hard to get some games in with him so he could see like this guy has grown. Right? But if you guys have had this happen recently and you feel like, you know what, I've been hyper competitive with a few people, like you can still have a positive impact on them and like give them good experiences later. But I think John brought that into full focus. That like,
and that was after months of playing with him. It wasn't like the first interaction. If that was first interaction, he never would have come back. That was after months and months of playing with him. So he still had fun. I know we've tried to figure out how to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I can't find him. I don't know his last name. I can't find him.
Man, we remember his dad's name, his
sister.
And his sister, Yep, but we just can't find him. Yeah. So he's probably off in college, or he's probably a rocket scientist or something.
That dude out of college now, man.
Yeah,
he was what, 7, 8?
Yeah, because his sister turned 11. That was back in 2009.
Yeah, 9, 10. Yeah, so
that was 15 years ago. So the kid's in his mid-20s, probably has a family, probably has a kid now. He's dumpster dunking on his own. So.
I just imagine Jared is. I feel like he's swole. I feel like if I saw him, he'd walk in and he's like some MMA guy, does jiu-jitsu. That's what I imagine happened. It might not be. Maybe he's just like a little nerd like we are. But like, I just imagine that. Without knowing, I just assume.
And also if you did that and you feel like you were a little harsher than you should have been, just apologize. Don't be too big of a person to apologize. Like, hey, that one time I was being immature, my bad. Can we play again? That's all it takes. Yep. Like if I have a bad experience with somebody, like, hey, I was a little more aggressive than I should have been, or hey, my list was kind of a little more tournament than it should have been. My bad. Can we have another game? Maybe have some fun. Do that, because that's how you can repair a community. It's not just burning bridges to the ground. Don't be too prideful to let yourself be open to like, hey, my bad. It goes a long way. I mean, if you can't say sorry, just say my bad. Same thing. Like, it's just show a little empathy and just show them like, hey, you just want to have some fun too. That's all. That's the point of the game.
So I've had a few experiences like that too. Sort of saw, I think last year or year before, I played with Matt LeBaron, which I've mentioned on the channel before. He's really smart, really good player. And I was a little salty in our game, and I ended up conceding. And we went through, and I'm pretty sure I apologized to him because I was just frustrated. And like, he gets it. We're still friends. He helps out at Nova. He plays at Nova. But again, just getting out in front of it and being like, hey man, like, especially if it's like game 4 and you're frustrated and you're tired, like, it happens. And then there's been one game that you and I played on the channel probably about a year ago, and I got frustrated with something because, again, we both know how we play. It was a competitive scenario, and I'm pretty sure I apologized for it because it's frustrating. I know I apologized.
Oh, that was the first match with my Death Commandos.
Yeah. Because I remember talking about in the video, because you guys saw me fall into tournament player mode, and like that's not what you're here to watch. And it's like got to get out in front of that. So
everybody has slip-ups, so don't think you're a bad player because it happens. It's a growing experience, and it's part of the game. Everybody understands that. You play long enough, you get it. Everybody has their day. Sometimes dice don't roll your way. Sometimes they never roll your way. But I mean,
if you're out here, they don't. If me and John played at Southern Assault, at Southern Assault, the last time we played was before they changed the charge rules, and I won our game on one dice roll because I charged you with a Wolfen, and I had to hit to kill the vehicle to then score the objective to win the game. And if I failed that dice roll, game was over and you win. So it was down to one dice roll, and then they changed how charge works. So that Wolfen that's charging 36 inches or whatever he did can't do that anymore. I could charge, but he won't do the damage he did. Used to the momentum of of your speed.
Distance traveled was a multiplier.
Yeah, and I cruised all the way across the map, and
you were booking it.
Yeah, as the commander, I was like, run it over. And the Wolf was like, okay, boss.
Yeah, Justin was literally like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and if I failed the roll, game was over. So like our games have been pretty close. I don't know where I was going with that. My brain was going faster than my mouth could speak. Segueing away from the gameplay stuff that we got on with Southern Assault, some of the other cool stuff that happened at Southern Assault, there were some of the CGL staff there. That was a little weird for me. We'll probably talk about that in a second. But we also had Bobby, who got authorization to sell some of the new stuff from the Kickstarter early.
Yeah, the force packs, right?
Yep, had a bunch of force packs
there. That was very successful. A lot of cool stuff to look at. Even just look at the boxes was cool to see new models. Because not everybody got a chance to participate in the Kickstarter, and also not everyone there got their stuff yet either.
Yeah.
I'd got my stuff the week before, but not enough time to like go through and paint anything. I already had submitted my list, but it's fun to see like more plastic pumped into the community and more options, because now with both Kickstarters out, you can face 20 armies and not any one will be the same. When the game first came out, you saw a lot of locusts, a lot of ravens, a lot of the same things, but now there's so much more variety, not including, 3D prints. But there's a lot of cool options out there, and now that they have armor, it's fun to see a lot more armor, because Southern Assault 1 and 2, there wasn't a lot of armor or tanks. There was a few kind of cheesy little things here and there, but there wasn't that much. Now this year you saw VTOLs, you saw armor, you saw a lot more options. So armies looked a lot more different. So therefore your army had to be built to withstand and be ready for any kind of thing that got thrown at it. So it's fun to see the game evolve over the last 3-4 years. So I'm excited to see how it goes. But again, it's up to you guys to make sure that community stays positive and grows.
And combined arms is getting more popular too, just because as the meta shifts, vehicles are very good.
It's still fragile, so you guys we got to baby it. We do.
Yep. So other things at Southern Assault, I got, which every year I generally place with painting, but I got best painted this year, which shocked me because Dustin from Mech Bay Podcast is really, really good. He beat me out 2 years in a row. I think his stuff this year probably wasn't fully where he wanted it to be, because he's really good. But the prize support for Bobby was really cool. DRD, where I work, we brought a bunch of stuff. And then I didn't get any painting stuff for best painted this year. I got a prize, but I didn't get like a paint set. Last year I gave my paint set away, and then this year I gave the same guy I gave the paints to last year. I gave my DRD minis, and then the guy's name was Mason. In our last game, I played him, and I gave him my Ironwood Metals model, because it was I think it was a Die Schmidt Dark Age 100-ton tank. I could buy another one. By the time I got around to painting that, it'd be who knows how long, but that kid might paint it sooner, so I gave it to him. I thought it was cool. The guy who got Best Sportsman was going through the prize support line before me, and I gave him the DRD terrain. That would have been my prize, because I could just get more here. So I gave most of my stuff away. The thing that I did keep, I got the Hinterlands book, and it's autographed by Ray Aristia, Randall Bills, and Aaron Cahall. That was cool, and I got that early because that doesn't come out, I think, till January. I really wanted to see the Ill Clan Eyes Only book, which just came out, or not came out, but they had there for preview. That got picked up quick. And then they had the Davian Force Packs that won't be out until sometime next year. That would have been cool, but I opted for the book because it was autographed. But they have a lot of cool plastic models coming out in those force packs, so that was there. And then Bobby had something that came from, I don't know, Ireland or something. This cool little slate Battletech placards for the best whatevers.
Oh, those slate.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Yep. And I got the one with the Battlemaster on it, which was really cool. So the prize support was really sweet. I think generally most people who go and spend money probably will feel like they got their money's worth, because Bobby gave us, in our swag bags, we got a shirt, we got a challenge coin, we got, I think, 3 pairs of dice.
3 sets of dice.
And, 3 pairs of dice, and everyone got a mini.
Decals.
Decals are pretty fun, yeah.
And decals are great because it was numbered decals, so you can put numbers on your mechs. Great for duplicates, keep track of what you're using. There's a lot of, I thought that's the swag bag, probably the best one yet. Even the little tote said Southern Assault. So it's cool. It's fun because Bobby, every year he has a different color for his shirts. So I have 3 of the 4. I might see if he has an extra one from last year I can just pick up just to keep the collection going. But it's cool. Like you get a lot of good stuff, a lot of good times playing. You meet a lot of people, swap numbers, share information, make new friends. There's a lot of people I met like, hey, we only live like half an hour apart. Let's try and plan some games. So it's a good place to meet and greet a lot of people. We went and got dinner one night with some players.
So Justin King, a friend of mine I met at KurskiCon. We've been friends since, and I see him every year. He's from Tennessee. And then you and I, we ate with him, and then the other guy that was there was Tuck Davian from the, not Battle Mallet, Battlebound podcast on YouTube, or not podcast, YouTube channel. So that was cool. Took some photos with him. He did a lot of filming. That was neat. Yep. One of the things that always baffles me is the number of people who recognize who I am from YouTube. And then the number of people who met me at Nova and didn't realize they met me at Southern Assault because I had that costume on. So people didn't know, but this year most people knew.
You changed out after game 4 on day 1, and you put your regular clothes back on, and they're like, "Oh, Justin, you're here." You're like, "I've been here all day. I was the jerk and the Jade Falcon." It was funny. It was a great costume. No one knew it was you.
Yeah. The funny thing with that one too is that people seem to think I'm a big Jade Falcon fan. I'm not. I can't stand him, but someone needs to play the bad guys. But in the meta, there's a lot of Jade Falcons because my event at Nova is era capped, so you have to play in that era. Bobby's is wide open, which means a lot of people are playing in the Ill Clan or Dark Age eras, and Jade Falcon's are really, really good then. So you see a lot of Jade Falcon stuff.
There's a lot of heat this year too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Once you post, there's a lot of heat.
Yeah. Post Jihad, Heat's really good. C3's really good. I played against a list that had Narc, which was really good, but not as consistent as C3 or Heat, and then Jade Falcons with the super jumps. So the meta shifts for sure.
A lot of Heat, VTOL, and artillery this year.
Yeah. So I need to change it up a little bit so I can get something new out. But the tension for me going in, because I almost didn't go. So at some point in this podcast, talking about Southern Assault, we knew this was going to come up like a week before I got the news that I was being removed from CSO over dice on the channel. These Baron of Dice.
Great dice.
The only thing that I have has been told to me is that I was promoting unofficial products on YouTube. So they pulled me from CSO because of that. The thing that frustrates me is that everything we do at the place I work is all unofficial, 3D, designs, terrain, everything, literally everything on my channel, which was fine before. Even some of the CGL staff has seen the 3D printed stuff. They know what I did, and it was fine. Even had Randall in the booth saying that he appreciated that they weren't stepping on the IP. They were distinct enough, but now the dice is a problem. That's frustrating for me. The other thing, and I'm going to try and start to distance myself from this on the channel talking about it, but the other thing that's really frustrating that I've talked to some of my friends about is that these are unofficial products that they were frustrated with that I have no control over. It's just a sponsorship on the channel. If there's an issue, they should be talking to Baron and Dice about that. But the issue I have is that I was told it's because it was unofficial products, which I warned about in my video talking about the dangerous precedent that it sets, and that anything could be considered unofficial. Everything on this table right now, aside from the plastic minis, is unofficial. Like
some of the plastic minis.
Yeah.
Some are unofficial.
Yeah. Those tanks right there are unofficial. All this terrain's unofficial. This game mat's unofficial. Everything is unofficial, but it's used for Battletech and Alpha Strike.
To enhance the game and spread the knowledge and spread the fun.
Yep.
So it seems like,
It's frustrating. I felt kind of targeted, and one of the other CSO guys that I was an artist alongside, it won't be hard to deduce who it is. I'm not going to point him out by name, but you guys can figure it out. He does 3D designs for resin minis. He does 3D terrain. He does 3D dropships and so forth. Those dropships look eerily similar to some of the TRO art, and there are mechs that I've literally had people asking me about because they look just like Warhammers or Jade Falcon mechs.
Even names are similar.
Yes.
Like, get out of here.
There are companies that have licenses to produce said products, and those are all unofficial, yet this person's allowed to make a profit off of products that are unofficial proxies and look damn close to the real thing. I don't sell anything, don't make anything. I run a YouTube channel, and I can't be a CSO artist. So that part really pisses me off because I feel like the rules are not leveraged fairly across the community. But it is what it is. So when I almost did not go to Southern Assault because of that, and people were worried about it. I went because I wanted to support Bobby. If it was a non-Bobby event, I probably wouldn't have went, which is unfortunate. But I went, and I was actually nervous going in because I know all the CGL people, 3 of the 4 CGL people that were there I know. The 4th one I don't. It's the guy who wrote the rules, so I didn't meet him. But I was told the Alpha Strike rules guy was there. So there was a lot of tension, and I had a lot of people that came up and were asking me about it, like a huge amount that had saw those videos. So one of the things I will say, if you guys are watching this and you follow what's going on, there is a distinction that should be made between me and DRD that's been brought to my attention. I found out that a lot of people were talking to the DRD guys that are there while I work here. My channel is my channel, and DRD is not. They're armed painters. It's 2 different things. So I had that come up too. because people were talking to the DRD staff that were helping run things at the show and seemed to not be able to make the distinction. So probably good to mention that here too, if you guys seem to think that while I work here that this is somehow a DRD production. It's not. So I'm assuming none of that impacted you, because you knew what was going on, but like didn't matter. But that was just my experience, which is terrible. So I think one of the positives that was beyond just simply playing and the other things that we mentioned, you and I haven't hung out in quite a while.
It's life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah. So
we're making steps to make it more frequent.
Yep.
Maybe add some more variety to the channel.
Yep.
We have some plans for that. Looking forward to it. With at least 3 different IPs, I think.
Yeah, we got a few IPs.
Yep.
The thing that was good about Southern Salt, to bring it back to a more positive note, because the previous stuff is not super great. John and I hadn't played in a while, so we got to Southern Assault. We got to go out to dinner on Saturday night and Sunday night. Had a few beers, chatted about the games, had good pizza, and then had good burgers, and then he got to meet some new people. So part of the experience going to Southern Assault in particular is also just hanging out with people. So like when you're not playing, you're still chilling. Same thing at Nova. Nova's got a lot more drinking going on because we're at a venue where people are just there. But after the games, after hours, things occur. So it was really cool to be able to connect. So if you happen to go to Southern Assault, it's nice to reconnect with people every year, especially if they're coming from far away. Like Justin King coming from Tennessee. I see him once a year. And we talk sometimes online, but him coming, he always makes a point to try and talk to me and hang out. And the same thing for John. He's local, but we hadn't seen him in God knows when. So getting him to come out, we actually got to come together and actually communicate and have a good time, which was cool. So the same could be said for you guys. And if you've never been to Southern Salt or a tournament, you're not going to forge friendships and relationships if you don't go get out there and game. So that's
keep in mind, you're at a tournament, you're around like-minded individuals. So like, go get some drinks, go get lunch. Like you guys have a lot more in common than you think.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that, because a lot of people don't have that many friends. And I get that. Growing older, you have less and less friends. So if you're in a situation or an opportunity to make more friends that are like-minded, that share interest already, you're kind of dumb not to. And it's easy to look back hindsight, because sometimes in the moment you might not feel like it. Like, I just want to go home. Just go get some food. You'll hang out. You'll realize you're having more fun than you thought. And it can really redeem a day of bad games, or just a bad day in general. Like it can be a nice little nightcap of getting some good food, meet some friends, talk about stuff, laugh about things, talk about your favorite movies, just shoot the shit. And it goes a long way to, like, helping your mental health too.
Yeah, so we went Saturday after game 4 with the infamous gridiron, and we went to Mellow Mushroom, got some pizza, had some beers, and chilled. And that was a nice pick-me-up after the last game. Also, for me, it was nice to just sit down. And when John was talking about like standing up and leaning over all day, and I mentioned having the vest on and all that stuff to get up, and I was sweaty and hot and all that, I was so physically drained from all that that when I sat down, my legs were hurting, and when I went to stand up, they almost cramped on me. Like, that's how bad it was for me. And then that brought into focus, like, I'm just getting old.
And those beers were great.
The beers were very good.
They hit the spot just right.
If you're ever in the North Carolina area and you drink responsibly and you're old enough, check out Red Oak. That's my jam. That's not what John had, but that's local, especially nearby for...
I had local stuff too.
That's true, yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah. And I sent the guys from the Maryland Battletech Brigade, I think is the group name they've got, I sent them to the same place the next night, and I encouraged them to try the same thing. And Matt LeBaron had the same pizza, Maui Wowie, which if it's not on the menu, ask for it. They generally will still make it for you. And he had that, and he had some local beer, which was really cool because they're from out of town. So that's really neat. So if you're traveling for tournaments, you're able to enjoy some of the local stuff as well. So as we're winding down here, any other thoughts you have on Southern Assault? Any highlights for game stuff you did? Anything wild?
I'm just looking forward to next year's Southern Assault. Looking forward to see the turnout, meet more people, play some more games and roll dice. Of course, we're going to do a lot more rolling than last year. We're going to kind of try and make sure we at least link up once we get past Christmas. Maybe get some videos out, make some videos at least once a month. We'll get maybe 2 or 3 games out, get some consistent footage out, not just Battletech, but other games, other IPs, maybe some throwback retro games that kind of have gone out of print. Also some games that might have less attention, but we're going to share some more of our interest and passions and just have fun along the way. So if there's something that we're doing you might want to see or have some ideas, share, let us know. I mean, I'm making a point to get my gaming room. I have like a hobby room. I'm going to get it straightened out, reorganized, and I plan on diving into my Kickstarter and getting a whole new fresh wave of models out that I've not played with before.
Yep.
So it's fun to, get some new stuff out, paint it, and just experience the game in a different light. So it really is up to you to have fun with it. It is worth it. It is. Just take the time. You won't regret it later down the road. You'll wish you did. But yeah, no, it's fun. Have a good time, and we'll see. You might see the venue change.
Yeah, with Southern Assault, yeah. If he keeps growing, he's gonna have to go somewhere else. He's basically at capacity. Like if he had the full 140, I think he was aiming for, I don't know where he would have put everybody. So I don't know what the future of Southern Assault will be, but it's on track to continue growing. If he grows next year at the rate he grew this year, he's probably looking at like 160. Is probably about the number he's going to look at, because it's consistently been a reasonable. It's like almost 50% growth every year, which I guess would be like 180, so maybe more like 30-40%, but still. He'll probably start bucking the capacity of the venue he's at and have to go somewhere else.
This might be dumb, but I'd love if we could manage to depends on what weekend it lines up on. I know Bobby uses the school as a location. If the location changes, if not, if the school lines up on like a 3-day weekend, maybe try and get 1 or 2 games on Friday, 4 games on Saturday, 2 games Sunday, just to kind of make sure there's an even spread of games out, just get some more coverage. But either way, I know there's a lot of thoughts around, but again, feedback goes a long way.
Yeah.
If you have ideas, even go to Fortress Miniatures and shoot them an email.
Yep.
Like even if you didn't attend, if you have some ideas and you want to attend next year, shoot some ideas. Yep. Like all that stuff can go a long ways in making the tournament next time a lot better, a lot more fun. If you have some ideas that, like, say a company might want to partner or provide, prize support or just affiliations, just get them in contact with Bobby. Like there's a lot of companies out there that just think they don't have a chance. But if you can make those bridges and connect some people together, a lot of great things can happen.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of winding down here. If you guys happen to have gone to Southern Assault and you have any thoughts, critiques, concerns, anything at all you want to share in the comments below, that's great. If it is actually criticism of the event, I'm happy for you to share your thoughts, or even if it's praise. But those should also be things you send to Bobby.
I know we've constructive too.
I know we have beat that horse to death, but like again, if you have thoughts on the event as a whole, share them in the comments, but also tell Bobby, because he should know. If you have some cool experiences that you had at Southern Assault or any other tournament, or cool anecdotal things you'd like to share, the comment section is where to get into. You guys over the last probably close to 6 months have just been lighting up the comments. Every time I put up a video, there's some ride or dies out there that have been going hard since the summer to help with the algorithm, help hit the like button and start hitting or start leaving comments. So that stuff's really helpful, helpful for me, but also I like seeing the best comments are the ones where I go to reply, but a bunch of other people are already talking to you. That's cool, because like I can respond to people, but it's nice when you guys are communicating with each other, which was kind of the point of the comment section. So trying to keep it civil and get you guys having some constructive conversations going on, and you guys leaving comments helps make that happen. So.
Keep in mind, Bobby does run the event. He is just another guy.
Yep.
So your construction, make sure your criticism is constructive.
Yep.
Let them know what went well, what was good, not just bad things, because that'll help reinforce good things that happened, so we can make sure those good things happen again. So the positive is just as important as the negative. Don't just focus on negative, because it might come off the wrong way.
That said, though, unless you got final thoughts on Southern Assault, I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that said, folks, if you guys enjoyed, please hit that like and subscribe. If you want to see more of these podcast episodes or see us just have other cool random topics to talk about, sound from the comments below. Let us know. But on that note, I think we're done today. So as always, keep painting your models, keep rolling your dice, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching and being here with me today. I pour a lot of time and passion into every video, and I genuinely hope it adds something to your hobby experience. If you've enjoyed today's content and want to see more, consider supporting me over on Patreon. Every little bit of support helps fuel what I'm doing here, and it truly makes a difference. Whether it's a few dollars or simply sharing the channel with others, your support means the world to me and allows me to keep doing what I love and hopefully inspiring you along the way. A huge thank you as well to all my sponsors, Monument Hobbies, Fortress Miniatures and Games, Baron of Dice, and Death Row Designs as well. Their backing is vital to the channel, and if you're in the market for top quality paints, miniatures, dice, or terrain, please check out their links below. Not only will you be picking up some great products, but you'll also be supporting this growing community we share together. Thank you so much for watching, and for your time, and for being a part of this journey with me. As I sign off today, let's go ahead and highlight some awesome patrons who are helping fuel this journey we're on together and helping keep things going.